difficulties notification off. It looks like we are on the air. Let me just hit this preview. Oh, an error occurred. Playback. Okay, this is just the preview thing. So we should be live.
Cool. So is this just going to be like a live whoever joins in thing, or is it going to be archived too? I've never done it before.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's totally working. The sound of my voice just completely blew up. I'm going to post this to the internet real quick.
Yeah.
And let's... Oh yeah, so it'll be archived. There's a chat. There's a web chat. I'll try and monitor that as we go.
Yeah, I'll leave it on the side too.
And yeah, so let's just talk about stuff. Hey everyone, I'm Jett, and he's Jason.
Hi, Jason.
And I don't know what this thing is going to be just yet. Jason and I, along with Matt, who couldn't be here today, we used to do a podcast years ago for a site called splitkick.com that is no longer here. And so that was about 4 years ago, but I still kind of wanted to talk about video games with you guys. So I thought, like, hey, why don't we just chat on YouTube and see what happens? It doesn't have to be a formal show or anything. We can just talk about games every now and then and stay in touch.
Yep, sounds good. Technology updated, we might as well update too.
Yeah, so it's been at least one Olympics ago since we last did a show.
That's how we tell time.
Yeah, what's going on with you?
Oh, man, not much. I think, man, last time we talked, I think we were in our apartment, but we're in our house now.
Awesome.
We have another cat now. It was just her birthday. But yeah, just life in general. Still playing games, I guess. Still following Jett's blogs and all that stuff, too.
Oh, I still follow your stuff, too. I still can't comment on your stuff, though.
Yeah,
if you can get that fixed.
I'd love to get that fixed. I'm going to make note of it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened after the show ended. I was in a condo with Steph, and then we got engaged, and we got married. And most recently, thank you. And now we're in this house, and I'm in this sketchy-looking basement with a hole in the wall in the back here, and the Snorlax in the corner.
Might have just been like something on my camera, but no, it looks like...
No, that's absolutely old. I don't know how that got there, but that was here when we first looked at the house, and we're like, okay, we're gonna tear all of this down anyway, so it's fine.
Good. Open concept.
Yeah. Other life stuff. Since we got this house, we have our first little home crises, because normally, like, we were renting and I didn't have to fix anything. It was just like, call the landlord, get it done. But last week our microwave died. And now we have to go buy a microwave, and it's one of those like over the range ones, or it's a range microwave. And I didn't realize how expensive those were. Those start at like $200 to $300 Canadian, and I don't really have that kind of money right now.
Yeah, really.
So we're just trying to live that microwave free life for the next little bit, trying to plan in advance to defrost some stuff and go from there.
That's good. You know, since we got our house here, it came with like appliances, and the microwave. Actually, our microwave died because for some reason it had cockroaches in it.
Oh man!
Yeah, I know. So like we would see them in the end of the display where it would say like the time counting down. You would see it like crawl across. So we're like, yep, we're not doing that. But we did keep the video game theme going, so we named them Coach from Left 4 Dead 2, and then it was, instead of Rochelle, it was Rochelle. And I'm sure they're still alive wherever we threw that thing away. They're probably still there.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Cockroaches never go away. I actually have a somewhat recent cockroach story. I know we're supposed to talk about video games. Maybe one more story. All right.
This is where this is the start.
My wife and I were at a Wimpy's Diner. I don't know if you guys have that in the States. And it was okay. So it's like a classic 50s inspired diner with like jukeboxes and stuff, and French fries, burgers, all that. I go up to the front counter to pay, and I tell them I'm paying debit. And as I look down at the debit machine, and there was a cockroach just crawling along the counter. And the waitress was like, "Oh, sorry," and then she just puts like the debit machine on top of the cockroach, and now I have to use the debit machine with the cockroach under it. Probably still alive because I don't think it like crushed it.
Yeah.
So I just paid, and I will never go there again.
Wow. Me neither.
There are a lot of great places to eat in Canada other than Wimpy's, so yeah, don't go there.
Fair enough.
Cockroaches.
Still never made it up to Canada. We'll try sometime.
Yeah, at some point. I got to get out to California.
Yeah, you should. If you're ever out here, just let us know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about. Yeah, that was the last time we met. I've been to the States a few other times since. The last time I was there was I was in Chicago for work. Oh man, I've got an immigration story. So I work for a company that is primarily based in the States, and I work out of the Canadian office, and I flew over to the States to do some stuff, and the person at immigration, or at customs, that was it. Customs asked me what I'm doing here. I told him, and then all of a sudden he got curious and pulled out a piece of paper and started writing all these details. I'm like, oh my God, this can't be good. So I just try to be honest, tell him what I was there for. And then a security guard comes up. His name was Chavez, fully armed, and was like, hey, you're going to need to come with me to the back. And it was probably the most horrifying experience of my life, of getting taken to that back room and getting grilled about not having the proper paperwork and stuff. And I'm here for a presentation for one afternoon, and then I'm gone.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't have a sheet or something saying you're supposed to be there?
I didn't know it was that serious. I was just going to meet some people.
Wow, crazy.
So, yeah, that was horrifying, but luckily they let me out this time. And I talked to HR about it, and we'll have the proper paperwork for next time.
Good.
So, please let me in.
Yes.
I swear I'm not doing anything that crazy illegal.
Yeah.
All right, game stuff.
Enough. Yes.
Let's talk about it. What are you playing, Jason?
So right now I'm still playing Overwatch. Next week will be another event, so I'll jump into that again. And literally right now there's the Overwatch League that I'm gonna watch right after this. So we'll
okay.
Played or not played?
I do have Overwatch. It's been a while since I've played it though. I've played it. I bought the game 5 or 6 months late, and then I played it for a couple of days pretty enthusiastically, and then I just kind of dropped it. Yeah. And not because it was bad or anything, but shooters just aren't, I guess, my go-to esports game.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't know, it's if there's nothing else, it's at least I can play that for a little bit. And I think part of it is a lot of our friends are online, and I pretty much only play on PS4, but Laura will play on PS4 and PC.
Okay.
So I think it's just kind of if there's nothing else to do, we'll jump online, get some loot boxes, and go from there. And then whenever the new content comes out, it's try to get on and play a little bit. But that aspect has been fun. And then for the league, I've been kind of surprised. I've been watching it not religiously, but enough where I care enough about some teams to see how it goes. But it's fun, and I the game is good. It's well polished. It's a Blizzard game. It's got good stuff going for it, and I feel like it's kind of filling that kind of gap in my life for when I had Team Fortress 2 for the same idea, where it would just jump online, play a little bit, okay, I'm done, and then maybe jump back in a week or two later, and just stuck with you for a couple years. But I'm surprised, still holding my attention. So new character came out and still playing. Yeah,
is she any good?
I guess I just I think her name is Brigitte or something like that. I'm not that good with her yet, so we'll see. But also, she's support, and I already kind of have my 2 supports locked down for who I usually use. So we'll see. And there's always that sort of gamer high when they come out where everyone picks that person, and so it's no one is really good yet, and you have to learn the strategies. So we'll see how it works. But once I get time with her, I'll play her.
Okay. Who are your main characters in that game?
My mains. I try as much as I can to fill whatever the team comp needs. But if I'm looking at each class, for support, I usually will stick with Zenyatta, and it's kind of going between Mercy and Moira, one of those two. And then for tank, I pretty much only know Roadhog. I can play Reinhardt a little bit, but Roadhog's definitely the better one. And then my favorite, whatever I can, is still Hanzo for defense. So I use Hanzo, and then if I need to use someone else, I use Bastion or Mei. And then for the DPS and attack heroes, I'll use try to go with Sombra, Tracer, or McCree, one of those 3.
Okay.
What you need. And I like to say that I'm good with all of them, but I'm sure I'm just average with all of them. Telling myself I'm good, but I think when we get with our group of friends, it's just everyone's having fun, and it's cool to get some hacks in. It's cool to use your orbs and all that. So we'll see. Who did you
Cool.
primarily use when you played?
I'm very stubborn. I only play Diva, and that's it. I love the fact that she has unlimited ammo and she does not have to reload, and it's like a super fast automatic gun. I don't have to worry about precision aiming. I just kind of run and gun, and that's how I like to play those games.
Yeah, I think Diva would be probably Laura's favorite character too. And Diva's great. And it's been a while since you played, but they kind of updated her. So they like changed her defense matrix. They gave her like little missiles and stuff like that too. So she's a little different.
Okay.
Still very viable.
Yeah, I need to play more. I have my cousin Jenna. She doesn't really play video games, but she loves Overwatch, and I keep telling her like, "Yeah, I'm gonna play this with you sometime," and then I never do.
Yeah.
One of the things is I can't stream that game at like for whatever. I guess it's because of the quality of Blizzard's netcode, but I think it realizes that my netcode is crap when I'm streaming and playing at the same time, so it just does not put me in matches.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, outside of Overwatch, though, I am starting to realize that there's way too much stuff on the Switch to like be passing it up. And I know there's a lot of like ports and things like that, but I did pick up Kirby Star Allies 2 weeks ago before we went on vacation and been playing that.
Okay.
And if you played a Kirby game, it's another Kirby game, which is, it is what it is. But I think with this one, with every game I feel like they make, there's always some sort of main gimmick. And this one seems to be the one that I care about the most, which is like copy abilities and like combining them together. It's kind of rudimentary and easy, but I guess the Kirby series always sort of is. But it's been fun, and nothing has been too challenging, but it's a lot of cute to it. So like, yeah, it looks cute and it plays really cute. But like seeing how you can have one of your allies can be like a fire starter, and then you can have a what's a good example, like a sword, and you can hold up your sword, he can spit fire on it, and now you have a fire sword. And so it's kind of things like that. And then throughout the environment, there's things that can only be cut with a sword, so you have to use that, or things that have to be frozen solid, so you have to have someone on your team that has ice powers. And it's fun. It's just like it's kind of easy. Like you'll see a random enemy sitting there all by himself, and you're like, why is this ice guy here? So you might as well take him. And then, oh look, lo and behold, I need to use this power right now. So I don't know. In the article I'm writing now, I'm kind of talking about how there's that sort of like elementary easy, and then they augment it by saying like, well, in the harder difficulties, it's the same thing, but now when you get hit, you take way more damage. So it's not really any more difficult. It's just, I don't know, more frustrating. And I kind of don't like that, but I feel like the game series is catered towards a younger audience, and I'm still playing it. But sure. I think me and the other like millions of people that played it 25 years ago are also probably waiting for something to be more challenging. So we'll see what Nintendo does. But as far as it goes, I mean, great game, good Switch game. You can easily just pass a controller along. Up to 4 players can play, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's cool. I played the demo of it, and I was like, yeah, that's a Kirby game. And I know there's little nuances with the friends stuff, but I just thought to myself, like, I'm probably not going to get into this, so I just let it go. I think I've only played 1 or 2 Kirby games. I played Kirby's Epic Yarn, I know for sure, and I like that one. But I think I also got into that because I love the art style.
Yeah, and I think that's why I played that one too, but I never actually finished it.
Oh,
and it's a really easy game because I don't think you can actually die in that game. So you just keep going forever, and then you just yarn yourself back up. So yeah,
I don't remember if you can die in that one, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's good. I never beat it, but it's a good one. So
okay,
and like you said, there's always a nuance for the game, and once you're over it, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm done. So falls under the same category.
Yeah. I would expect them, I mean, to your point about Kirby fans wanting something harder, considering that they've gone almost 30 years and not made them harder, I'm going to guess that they will continue to not make them harder because those games aren't technically meant for you.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think it's because when I started, actually one of the first games I remember playing was Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy, and thinking like, oh, this is great. And then eventually I jumped up to Kirby Superstar on the Super Nintendo, and that was a bit more challenging. And so I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I jumped into Kirby 64, and again, it was different and new, and I felt like the game advanced, so I just kind of assumed like they were getting more difficult, but no, not really. And if we I know we'll talk about it later, but I'm sure we'll mention Zelda, but I feel like the Zelda series has always kind of maintained the same sort of difficulty throughout the entire lineage of that series. and it's been right. Like everything about it felt good, and I think that Kirby is just not right for me. But it's still fun. You know, like it's still a good game. You can't deny that.
Oh, that was it. The other Kirby I played was the one on the NES Classic.
Oh, I don't have the NES Classic, so I'm not sure. What I mean, sure, it's probably just Kirby's Adventure.
It was the one on the NES.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
That game holds up really well relative to some of the games on the NES Classic, which have aged quite poorly.
Yes.
That one is still really good.
That's good. Yeah, I think I've emulated it or played it on Game Boy or something like that. But yeah.
Were you just not interested in the NES Classic or hard to find?
Yeah, if I ever find one, I'll definitely buy it. I got lucky one day at work for the SNES Classic because people kept calling in asking for it, and I was like, do we have one? So I went over there, and I was like, hey, do we have any? He's like, yeah, we got like 10. So after work, I just walked over there, and I was like, yep, I guess I'll buy this one. Just took it, and ever since that, I've never seen him again, so I got lucky.
Yeah, NES Classic, I ended up getting 2, one of which I gave away as a gift. Both ordered through Best Buy, and it was just like hitting refresh like crazy. There it is, type, gone.
Yeah.
And so it's like I got in like 30 seconds after it went live, and then 40 seconds it was gone. Both times. And
I heard that Nintendo was still going to release more this year, but I haven't heard anything about it yet.
I think they did say after the SNES Classic they're going to bring the NES Classic back.
Ooh, the N64 Classic, Jett.
Yeah, that would... I don't know how you do that in a way that makes sense.
I mean, like, I feel like Nintendo could easily skip a year and not do it this year and just wait and just ride on the SNES again, because obviously it'll sell. But I mean, I think they could do it. I don't see why not, I guess.
The fact that they don't have the rights to all those Rare games, I think, is a big problem.
That's true. That was a big one.
The controller, are you going to make it so that the stick kind of wears out into just dust?
Yeah.
And then are you going to need to make, like, support for 4 controller... I mean, it had to have 4 controller ports, but then, like, does the price go up to a point where it doesn't make sense anymore?
That's a good point. Like, because I was thinking for sure, like, even without, GoldenEye and stuff like that, I would still want 4 ports to play, like, Mario Kart 64, things like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess price point could go up. I think they can do it, but will they do it? I guess I'm not sure. I mean, Rare hasn't done anything, and they did Sea of Thieves? Is that their new one? And that's been not that great so far. Yeah,
their output post Nintendo is not great. Though I was talking with a coworker about it, and I remember at the time being really upset that Nintendo sold Rare to Microsoft. And I was like, this makes no sense. These guys made Donkey Kong Country. They made GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie. Why would you just let these guys go? And then it turns out that was absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's true. Well, but I wonder, like, if they kept them, like, if Nintendo bought them, like, what would they have made? Like, they could have kept going and done more Donkey Kongs. They could have took over and did, there was a rumor they were going to do Metroid, but, like, they never did. So, like, I just, I wonder what could have been, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, what else are you playing?
I was playing Far Cry 5, and I traded that in today. Not because I finished it, but I am finished with that game.
It came out like 4 days ago, Jett.
Yeah. I consider myself to be a fan of the modern Far Cry game. I got almost all the way through Far Cry 3 until I hit a story stealth mission, and I hate stealth in games, period, and I just got frustrated, stopped. Far Cry 4 I loved. I also played Blood Dragon 2, and I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Gotcha.
My big problem with Far Cry 5, I've just cut to the chase. I know there's probably a lot to talk about with the cult and political messaging and stuff, but my big hang-up was the glitches. And one in particular I ran into was that there's a plane mission, like, early on in the game. And I know I suck. I crashed the plane. When the game reloaded, I started with the plane, inside the plane, in midair, with no momentum. And you cannot just start flying because this particular plane, you have to get momentum on the ground and go up. So I'm just on a plane crashing over and over again. And the first time it happened, so this happened multiple times. The first time it happened, I happened to be over a body of water, and I could kind of steer it into the water so it didn't completely break. The second time around, I was just over land, and it was just instant death over and over again. You couldn't reload any old checkpoints. The only thing you could do was jump out of the plane and parachute, But then at that point, you're in the middle of nowhere. You have no transportation. And even when you fast travel, then you're sitting through another minute of load screens, and you probably still have to hop into a car and drive to wherever you're going because the fast travel points aren't close enough. So I just said, forget it. I do not... My tolerance for glitches that impede progress through a game is insanely low. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd say insanely low. Like, the first time this happened was Battlefield... Is it Battlefield 4? The one that came out at launch for the...
Battlefield. Oh, it came out for launch for what?
PlayStation 4. On launch day, that game did not save your progress in the campaign. Like, it would tell you it would save. You could click save, and it would just not save. And so I came back to it. I started from the beginning. I played an hour, hit save, started again, and my save wasn't there. I just forget it. No, I'm out.
Seems like something they'd catch in QA like really fast.
Yeah. And I mean, also an EA game, Mass Effect Andromeda. We'll talk a bit more about that later, but ultimately why I dropped that game was just bugs. Like, I ran into glitches where entire quest lines just did not work or would just lock up the system. There was one on this planet. It was like, oh, we need help over here. And then you drive into that area or you walk into it, and then the system would just lock up. You'd have to, like, turn the system off or unplug it from the wall to get it to, like, restart.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Again, things that they should catch in QA.
Yeah. Well, for sure. So, not playing Far Cry anymore.
I'm still interested in it. You didn't mention Far Cry Primal. I liked Primal a lot. Did you play it?
No, I did not.
Really?
Yeah, I think, like, the Stone Age theme, I didn't seem all that interested in it. I was just like, okay, I'll just take a break.
No, I think that's what a lot of people did too. And I think Far Cry 4, I think it was the first game I actually got on my PlayStation. But then we got Primal for a cheap deal, like $20, and yeah, Laura and I both beat the whole thing, and it was great. Like, I liked it a lot, but I think I do like that setting. I mean, I have a degree in history, so it was kind of cool to see all like the old timey stuff. But it was fun, and it's the same idea. Just replace everything with guns with, you know, sticks and spears and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, and I thought it was kind of easy, to be honest. There was still somewhat those stealth missions, which I also didn't like from the other Far Cry games, but it just felt a lot easier. And since then, I was really turned on to the idea of Far Cry. Like, yeah, I could do this again. So when 5 was announced, I thought it was cool. Just, you know, don't have the money to get it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I traded that in. I'll use it for something at some point. I think the next big game I have on pre-order is Crackdown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I hope that's good. Please, I need stuff to play on the Xbox.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. Microsoft really dropped the ball on the Xbox One this gen.
No,
it's unfortunate.
What else is even coming out for it?
I don't know, man. I guess Halo 6?
Dude,
at some point?
When I think of Xbox exclusives, I still only can think of Sunset Overdrive, and I think that was a launch game.
Yeah, and that game was great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have my Xbox One games. See, I can count them on my shelf. There are 5. I see Sunset Overdrive, which is great. Doom, which for some reason I decided to get the Xbox version. That game's great. What is that? Oh, Rare Replay. Speaking of Rare. Yeah, so all their old games that were not on the Xbox are there.
Fair enough.
Rock Band 4. Yeah, I thought, like, I like the fact that all my like thousands of dollars worth of DLC are on a modern system, but I played it for like a week and was like, yeah, I kind of don't want to play this anymore. It's still Rock Band. I'm still reluctant to get rid of those instruments. They are now sitting in a box under the stairs in the basement, but I can't let them go. I just feel like someday I'm gonna want to play Rock Band, and when that day comes, they will be there.
You'll be ready. You're never gonna play.
I'm probably never gonna play Rock Band again. And the final game I have here, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah, on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Couple other games I've been playing. I'm still playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is
played it. Yeah.
it's amazing. They did an incredible job with the animation where
Yeah.
it looks at times better than the show, which is weird. They translated so much of what makes that show great into the game itself with like particular special moves are done like at the end, like it'll pan to the exact angle it happened to in the manga or in the cartoon. It's nuts.
That's cool.
And the fighting in it is generally really well done. I've struggled with Arxis Works games in the past. I find them to be overly complicated with too many systems.
They're the BlazBlue,
Guilty Gear, Persona, Arena. Is it Arena?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Persona 4 Arena.
Yeah. And they've simplified it enough to a place where it makes sense for me, even as someone who plays a lot of fighting games. And so it's largely scratching the Marvel vs. Capcom itch. It's not quite there. It's probably a little simpler than that, but for the most part, it's really good.
Good. I mean, it looks great, and just what you said, like the comparisons to the manga and the anime, makes me want to play it. But I haven't gotten to it yet. Are you playing on an Xbox, PS4?
PS4.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Actually, on Xbox, it probably is, right?
Yeah, it's on Xbox as well. Yeah. Probably looks great on the Xbox One X.
Yeah. I have a regular PS4.
Okay.
Non-pro PS4.
Yeah, I have that as well. One other game we can talk about here. I'm playing Pokemon Ultra Moon.
Oh, nice. I played a lot of Sun and Moon, but I didn't get the Ultra ones.
Okay, I don't know how much different Ultra Moon is. Steph played Pokemon Sun, and I've told her about like the major story beats as they go on, and she's like, "Yeah, that all sounds exactly the same." So I don't think it's that much different, but I've only played the only other like mainline Pokemon game I played is Pokemon X, and that like I really like the fighting in that game, but everything else about that game drove me nuts. I found like in the overworld I was getting lost all the time. I wasn't really sure where I was supposed to go next. Areas would be arbitrarily locked off, and I'd have no idea how to unlock it, and usually it was something completely unrelated. That's still kind of in Pokemon Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun, but it's not as bad. I don't find myself getting lost nearly as much.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is X and Y, those are the ones, like the Paris-themed one, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so yeah. When you get into the town where it's like supposed to be like Paris, and like the camera like switches so you walk oh my god, it's so annoying, and like I get so lost. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And I feel you, like with I think I played Moon. When everything feels a lot more linear in a sense, but like you have your variety of where to go, but you always knew like which direction you were going. Yeah. So I like that. And even when you hop to different islands, it just made more sense. So I agree with you.
I'm on the final island now, and I should be done soonish. I've been playing it on the train for like the last few months.
Yeah.
Just slowly chipping away at it when I'm not asleep on the train. So
yeah. Who'd you pick for your starter?
I picked Poplio because I've heard everybody hates Poplio, so I wanted to show it some love.
I think that might be why Laura picked Poplio, because we were between Rowlet and Litten, but I was like, well, I know I'm gonna pick Rowlet because I like to rotate. So like I think the previous game I picked like a water starter, so. Yeah, I like Rowlet. I like how he like goes through his like emo status about like evolutions. He does his head and then he flips it back. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, Steph picked Rowlet too.
Oh, he's adorable. Steph is great.
So that is it for current games. I love my Nintendo Switch. I haven't played it in a while though, just because I primarily play it on the go, and I've been playing Pokemon. But I do want to get Punch Out.
Punch Out?
Arcade Punch Out is out on the Switch right now.
Right. Oh yeah, you can play it like, the arcade way, I think.
Yeah. By chance, have you ever played that?
I have. I was gonna say, we usually have there's a convention in our hometown now that does it's an arcade show.
Okay.
And every year someone always brings the Punch Out machines, so Super Punch Out and regular Punch Out. They're freaking hard, dude. And like just compared to the Super Nintendo one and the regular one, like it's kind of night and day. They're very different, but it's interesting.
Okay.
I think on my I have an arcade blog on Tumblr, which I should link to that. You can see like the screenshots from it and like how it looks. It's neat, and it makes sense like that the Switch goes this way because that's really how the cabinet looks. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's funny how it's kind of a weird precursor to the DS.
Yeah, no, it's true. It kind of is.
Yeah,
Has
I've
awesome screens.
played it one time at Niagara Comic-Con, and yeah, I remember the first guy being easy, and then the second guy being pretty hard.
Yeah,
and then it only got worse.
Yeah, I don't even think I beat the first guy. I think I just lost. But that being said, when I did get my SNES Classic, the first game I did play and beat was Super Punch Out because like the back of my hand, like I've played that game so much.
That game is so good. I think it is
wonderful.
Wildly underrated in the Punch Out series. I know there's only like 3 games.
There's 3 games, but it's probably like the lowest rated one, and I think it's great. And like every character is so amazing, and so many good stories growing up with my brothers playing that game.
Yeah, that game just does not get a fair shake because it does not have Mike Tyson in it.
It's true.
But I think it is overall probably a better game.
Yeah, totally. Way more solid and better characters, better art, better sound. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Game. You haven't played it, y'all should play it.
Yeah. All right, and how long are we running, by the way? I should have been keeping track.
We started around maybe 6:55-ish.
Okay.
So
yeah, like half hour. All right. Yeah. I think we're doing okay for time. Let's move into our quote unquote topic of the week. I have like one big thing written on the outline. And I thought because it's been so long since we talked, it's been about 4 years. Let's catch up and talk about some awesome games from the last 4 years and a couple of ones that disappointed you.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me some of your favorite games of the last 4 years. Go.
So I see on our outline that, well, I'll get the big one out of the way because I think we both liked Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Oh my God. Absolutely amazing. And I mean, like, system seller for sure. That's why I got it, even though I had the Wii U. But man, that game was just amazing. And I felt like it was one of the very first games where, you know, like if you're going back to the Far Cry example, or if you played like Horizon Zero Dawn or something, like it's neat to like go someplace and look out and like climb up a mountain and just like see around and be like, wow, that's really cool. Or that Assassin's Creed effect where you go up onto the tower and then the camera pans out and you can see the world. And like you kind of got that in Zelda when you go up to like those towers. But like when I played it, I legitimately felt like I want to go to that place. Like I want to see why there's like smoke from there and just like freaking jump off and glide over there. And like it seems so simple to think that freedom of play like makes a big difference. But like actually being able to climb up a mountain if you could make it and not have any walls stopping you is just really, really like a breath of fresh air. And I thought that was great. I think the story was a little lacking in terms of, you know, Zelda's, but I mean, it was more than made up for just what you could do, how excellent like everything was made. And there's things that like people probably don't really think about, but they made it for you without even thinking. Like the sound cues when you pick something up, or when you'd go somewhere and like you'd hear like wisps of the wind, and then like the music would kick in, and like all those cues were just like spot on. And then being like a Zelda game, you know, you have solid action, and I know some people didn't like the weapons breaking, but I thought it was great, and it gave the game so much variety. There's freaking amiibo support. Like I just thought it was amazing, and all the new characters that they presented to you were like instantly loved. And yeah, man, like in terms of a Zelda game, like it's honestly they've been kind of either mediocre or kind of lacking as of new content. Maybe the best one was Link Between Worlds for the 3DS, and even that was just essentially a remake of an older game with more stuff. Like this game just hit it out of the park. And I want you to talk too, but I feel like in the future for Zelda games, I think people will want there to be more games like Breath of the Wild, but I don't know if we need another game like Breath of the Wild. Because I think that they could easily do it again and just do something similar ideas, but I think the Zelda series is about exploring new stuff. So like what can make, like what can be done differently to make Zelda relevant. And I think that's Nintendo's sort of theme. So I think with the Switch and this game, like that's what they chose to do. Like they wanted to make something different, something you could take on the go with you. And like that theme was presented in Breath of the Wild. Like Link is going here, like you go with him. And so I like that idea. But okay. But now you go.
I feel like Nintendo did say they were going to the future Zelda games would be more like Breath of the Wild in terms of their openness. I mean, there's probably other ways of doing that other than the way they did it here.
Yeah, because I think like there wasn't really any dungeon aspect in this game, and
that
I think
part,
that
I thought that is probably the part that I found most lacking. I just not being able to not having much to fight in once you get to the dungeons, and most of them were just puzzle based. and I'm not very good at puzzles. So,
see, I think that they could spin it in a way like, yeah, open world, but when you get to that dungeon, that's a scripted dungeon. Like, yeah, why not? Like, you know, tell a good story like you always do, and like you said, get more good fights instead of just one little guardian, and then make it worthwhile. So I think in the future, if that's what it's like, I'd be game.
For sure. But my favorite moments were, of course, just like, well, I'm going to go climb to that thing and I'm going to look around and I'm just going to glide that way. And magically, there was always something cool there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's true. They always rewarded you. And I think one of the other games I want to talk about was Skyrim. And I think they kind of do a good job of getting you someplace and like giving you a reward. But I felt like in Zelda, like no matter kind of where you went, you always got something. And that's really good game design. And even if it was just like a freaking Korok or whatever, it was still like worthwhile. Like, yeah, I did that, and you know you can remember it going forward. So it's good.
For sure. Tell me more about Skyrim.
Oh yeah, so I've never played Skyrim until the Anniversary Edition or whatever came out on the PS4, and I absolutely love RPGs. I think part of it was because when it first came out on the Xbox 360, I think it also came out when the first Dragon Age Origins came out. So I think I played that. And then after a while, I just never got back to it because I think from Dragon Age I went to like Mass Effect, and it just kind of fell through the cracks. But yeah, the past couple years since we did our last podcast, played Skyrim, played it for, gosh, like 3 or 4 months. It was great. Did not beat it. I don't know if anyone's actually ever beaten that game, but no, it was cool. And I got caught up so much in just exploring and like seeing what's over here, what's over there. One day I just remember deciding like, you know, I'm not going to use a sword anymore. I'm just going to use an axe instead of just grabbing an axe and just starting it again. And yeah, I mean, that game was fun. And I think it's a solid like Western RPG, and like, you know, you can see the influences that it brought onto games like Breath of the Wild. But yeah, it was just so good, and it was a good game to just show people how, I don't know, how much fun just exploring could be, and like, you know, where the Final Fantasy is there, and I guess I played 15 as well. Like that's a good scripted game too, but Skyrim is a good open game, and they're both like high caliber titles for what they are. But I see why it gets all the accolades. Have you played it before?
Yeah, I played it a couple months after launch. My brother and I got it for, I guess, part of a Boxing Day sale, or something, and I poured in about 80 or so hours into it.
Yeah,
I did also never finished it. My brother did, but I like the main story. The main storyline is actually not that long in that game. I've heard you can finish in like 10 hours if you just like.
I'm just dicking around because like it's been a long time. Yeah.
Me too. I just got so lost in that game of like, yeah, I'm gonna wander over there and then fight some dudes, and then all of a sudden I triggered all these weird other quests, and
yeah, and all the funny like pop culture relevant or references were great, and yeah, it was neat. And like I played Oblivion twice, and beat that game twice, and then I only kind of dabbled in like Morrowind, but I don't think you need to really know everything to enjoy the story, but it's just neat, and to see the game like progress forward and like how it evolved from each one is really, really exciting, because the rumor on the mill is that they're going to be announcing Elder Scrolls 6, and just, I can't wait. I mean, it's just a rumor, but I think it would be. I mean, it's probably going to happen, but yeah, man, that game will be killer. I think it'll be amazing if they can even just repeat Skyrim, but with new stuff, new stories, new quests. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely be up for another Elder Scrolls game. I played Skyrim on the Switch for about 3 minutes at a con a couple of months ago, and it was completely alien to me. I'm just like, I don't remember these controls. I guess I'm just gonna walk this way, and then I got killed by the first guy I saw because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But
wearing Link's armor.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. I think I guess something I forgot to write down too. We played a lot of Fallout 4 as well, other Bethesda games. Won't get into much of Fallout, but I mean that game was kind of it was okay. But I feel like moving forward, if they do make a Skyrim 2, Elder Scrolls 6, I feel like it might take some elements of that game in terms of like collecting stuff to like build things. I guess my speculation for Elder Scrolls 6 would be something along the lines of like kingdom building. So like maybe you as a random hero, or whatever, or a king, something like that, have to protect your kingdom. So you might expand it by like building more houses, building guards, like hiring people to come work for you, and that might be maybe the main theme of the game. that's my speculation. I like to believe that in my headcanon that that's what it's going to be. So I'm exciting myself out for that, but I don't know. If I'm going to run my own rumor mill, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean that sounds cool as long as you don't start adding in like crazy microtransactions of we'll build this tower faster if you spend
spend gems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, that's true.
Yeah, please don't make that. Speaking of, I was on your site and your I think like honorable mentions for best games of 2017 or games you played in 2017. Yeah. I saw you played it was the Lord of the Rings game.
Oh,
what was that called? Shadow of Mordor?
Shadow of Mordor? Yeah.
Mordor. Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor. Yeah, whatever the first one was. Shadow of Mordor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was super cheap, so we got it for a couple bucks.
And yeah, that game is like, I mean, no offense to Warner Brothers, but that game was like an awesome $20 game.
Oh, absolutely. And like I think we got it for like $3. It was like a super sale.
Man, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it was like cheap. And man, that game was really good. I think Laura ended up beating it, but I never got to the very end. But that was fun. And another open world game, but just it was kind of like Assassin's Creed, really, I guess. And fun to just run around, kill stuff, level up, and I don't know. Sound was great. Like God, what is his name? Italian and Erebrimbor, whatever the elf.
I don't know the Rings names.
Like like their voice lines were like memorable and it was cool. And like I don't know, just how like, you know, people give off like one-liners and like, you know, kick ass. Like, yeah, I felt like I was a cool guy, like playing that game.
Yeah, I saw that Shadow of War is getting its DLC, or not, its microtransactions taken out.
Taken out. That's something that you and I discussed earlier. I mean, I read the article and like their statement why, and like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, you don't want to ruin your system, but I mean, I feel like that's a topic for a whole other show.
Yeah,
but it is kind of weird that they are just removing them. Like, that's kind of a bold statement.
Yeah, I guess it shows how important it was to the game that they can just rip the whole thing out and be like, yeah, okay, it's fine now.
I mean, it's good. Like, they care about experiences more than money, or at least that's what they're implying. But yeah, I think it's a good choice.
Yeah. What other stuff? I see we are okay. Well, now I'm just rambling here. We talked about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. I'm playing Overwatch. Oh, I didn't talk about Fire Emblem. So in our little outline, I just put Fire Emblem because I think this is the last time we did a show. I've played like 5 of them. But the one I wanted to talk about most was Fire Emblem Heroes on the mobile device, like the iPhone.
Okay.
So I don't know if you played it, but it's like a gacha game basically where you spend orbs to like hopefully pull a random hero that's good, or like you need it for your team. First time I ever played a game like that, but it's fun. And I think that in terms of like moving a franchise from a system or a handheld to a mobile device, they did a fair job. Like, it feels like Fire Emblem and it looks like Fire Emblem. But it just kind of gets your claws, like digs them right into you and then just like doesn't let go. But like for the whole like year and a couple of months it's been out, I've never spent even like a penny on the game, so I'm still free to play. And like I stuck with it because maybe like 6 months in, I randomly got like a pull that was like top tier, like 2 characters, and so I was like, oh man, like I got to keep playing. And so since then, like I ended up getting my arena team up to level I think 17, and the max is 20. Okay. And then from there it was really tough because like if you're free to play, like you just can't compete. I've like died off since then, but I still play like every day just to get all my free stuff and all the new quests, and it's just really good. I think that Nintendo did a good job, and Intelligent Systems is the designer of the game, and they also designed the main series. They did a good job. Like, everything is brought in right. I think it's still fun. And more Fire Emblem stuff. Like, I know previously I played Fire Emblem Awakening, which everyone loved on the 3DS, and it was great. And then it was followed up by Fates, and that one kind of sucked. It didn't have a good story, and like the character was really weak. And like your main character, Corrin, who's also in Smash, like just wasn't that cool. And like it kind of kills it for you. But there was a good follow up when they did the remake of Echoes, which was originally Fire Emblem Gaiden on the SNES, which never came out outside of Japan. But that game was really good. And it was great because it was a full remake, like all new graphics and all new voice actors, new quests, things like that. And I think I wrote about it on my blog too. Like, the thing that stands out the most is definitely the voice acting. Like, characters deliver lines with like actual empathy, like when they're sad. and like really, if there's funny things, like it actually makes you laugh because you can hear their inflections, and it's just it's the right way to remake a game. Like if you're gonna remake something, like don't just remake it and leave like old systems. They redid it, so it has like the new system for the new games. It has like better everything. They took like experimental ideas and like ran with them, and so it's everything that you would want. Like if someone remade like the original Donkey Kong, like Donkey Kong Country, I guess, like yeah, you want to see similar stuff, but you also want like new mechanics. Like you want more fluid motion, like you want to hear better sound design, and you want to see new levels, and like that's the way to do it. So I think if you're looking for a good way to bring back an old game, like I would look at Fire Emblem Echoes.
Okay. This is kind of funny. You and I are polar opposites on those last two games.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with Fire Emblem Heroes. Yeah. I played that for about a month or so. I really like how well. Oh, sorry, Jess. I was just fidgeting here. Shovel Knight Amiibo. Yeah. I really like how they translated that game to mobile. I wasn't expecting Fire Emblem to be like 100% on the phone, but the parts that they got in there, I think, are the right parts. And then the gacha stuff. It worked really well. So I only stopped playing it because I am a diehard Pokemon Go player, which we'll talk about a little later. As for the other two Fire Emblem games, I will agree that Fire Emblem Fates is not as good as Awakening, but I really liked that one a lot, and I'm drawing a blank on the particulars of why I really like one and don't like the other. I hated Echoes though. I got all the way to the end. Yeah,
Oh no!
It really frustrated me that a lot of the levels are still like they've updated a lot of things. Like, don't get me wrong, they updated the graphics, the voice acting was great, but like the level design was almost entirely like, here's a giant open field, go kill the dude.
No, I get it. You're right.
Over like in modern Fire Emblem games, there's more like castles and more objectives versus just like kill all these guys. And at a certain point, I got to like, I think it was the penultimate level, and I don't remember why, but something about it just like infuriated me to the point where I was just like, I can't have this game like in this house anymore, and I just traded it in. It was the first time I got rid of a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah. No, I think it was pretty divisive for other people too. I think, like you said, like the old system of the big open field, I mean, it was pretty much just go kill these people. And it wasn't that fun. But I mean, I played it for the story, I guess, and I'm just like, oh, I'll trudge through this shitty-ass desert and keep going. But yeah.
The story was good. I like the interplay between the two characters, and that was coming together. Yeah. So I'll give you that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Any other games you'd want to shout out as like great games you've played in the last 4 years?
So for Easter this past weekend, we didn't really do much. We had some friends come over, and we were deciding like, hey, what can we play? And we noticed that we haven't played Rocket League in a while, so we turned it on and played a couple rounds, and that game's still really fun. And like, even though we absolutely suck, it's just jumping on and just playing together and hoping you can maybe just hit the ball is like really, really great. But I think that's a fun game. And if you're looking at games from the past 4 years, that's definitely one we went back to a lot. And they had a good update when they did the Rumble update where you could get all the power-ups. Like that was really smart move, and it was all free. And just all like the extra content that they add for it it's fun. And I think if you're looking at what's the term they throw out, like games as a service. So like they keep giving you more and more, so you keep going back. Rocket League does a good job. And similar to like Overwatch, where you can keep getting your loot boxes, keep playing, get more stuff, feel encouraged to keep going. That's the way to do it. And I want to see more games take advantage of that. Have you played it or no? I know people don't like it.
Why would you not like Rocket League? Rocket League's fantastic.
Some people think it's too hard and you just can't figure it out.
I got Rocket League at launch on the PlayStation 4, and they're giving it away for free. I never played it seriously till like last winter. Like I played it a couple of times with my sister-in-law's boyfriend when he'd come over to the house and we had nothing to do, so we'll just play this game, Rocket League. And I didn't start playing it seriously till it came out on the Switch.
Oh, really? I debated buying it for the Switch over Kirby, but I got Kirby instead.
Okay, Rocket League is great on the Switch. I think it plays like it doesn't look as good, but I heard there was a graphics update recently, so it apparently looks a lot better. But it plays the same. It's and it's just as smooth. And I played a ton of Rocket League on the Switch.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll have to get it. No, I mean, like, and the idea of just taking it wherever is also really, really enticing, because it's just like a perfect game to play for, like, a break or a lunch break or something like that. Just jump in and play around.
Yeah. Some people are really good at Rocket League. Oh man,
maybe you can like fly around the court. I'm like, what are you doing?
The craziest goal, like this one guy pretty much single-handedly beat my brother and I 13-1. And like, if these are the nets, the one time the ball was like right here, just hovering above our own net, and this guy from his net jumped and flew all the way across the arena and tilted at just the right angle to like spike the ball down and into our net.
That's insane. And like, seeing people do that makes me think like, dude, get a life. You're too good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. And like, I mean, seriously, like, we were the past like weekend, we were like, oh my god, we won a game. Like, everyone's just like, and when we start a game and like the other team isn't like instantly getting goals, we're like, oh guys, they suck too. We can win. That's my Rocket League experience. Yeah.
All right. A couple of games on my list of like my favorite games. We talked about Breath of the Wild. I am going to cape for what I think is the most underrated game on the Nintendo Switch, ARMS. Have you played ARMS by chance?
I have ARMS. It is still wrapped. I got it for Christmas.
Oh man. Oh man, the discussion around that game drives me nuts. Of a lot of people who bury that game for being too shallow. A lot of people who think that game is a flop because it hasn't sold as well as Mario Kart or Zelda. Like, that stuff's just not true. That game actually has a ton of depth relative to its super basic systems, like the nuances around curving your punches. And pro tip, when you're playing it, and once you get beyond the basics of it, you're not really trying to punch for where they are. You are trying to punch for where they are going to go. So it's I'm going to curve my punch this way because you're going to stand there and see this punch and go, oh, I'm going to dash out of the way here. And then really it just like clocks it.
Fair enough.
And so that's my single most played game on the Switch. I played over 200 hours of it.
Yeah, I remember following your like Facebook uploads and stuff and being like, man, he plays that a lot.
And it's so good. The character designs are great. At a root level, like, anyone can pick up that game and have fun. But as you start playing, I mean, the game doesn't necessarily teach you all of its depth, but there really is a lot there if you want to invest yourself in it. I think the single player stuff is mediocre to not great, but you go online and you just hop into that party mode, which shuffles a whole bunch of people in through a bunch of different modes, or you can play super serious ranked, and that game will keep you entertained for a long time.
Yeah, no, I should open it up. And they just did the final update, right? Like 5.0 or whatever, last character.
Yeah, added a new character. They squeezed. Apparently, they were only going to add 4 characters to the game, and because of the popularity of it, they were able to squeeze in 1 more.
Wow, that's great.
And yeah, it's pretty well balanced at this point. It was lacking some big features like being able to customize your controls, having a tournament modes where all the arms are unlocked if you're playing it locally, and they've added all that stuff in after the fact. It is a fantastic game.
Is it going to be at Evo sometime?
It was at Evo Japan, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it didn't make the cut for Evo. I don't think it will. That game is not. I think the big challenge with it on the esports circuit is that game is really boring to watch. I love playing it. I can't watch streams of other people playing it because, like, I mean, now I'm being hypocritical here. I'm like, yeah, this game's so great to play. But, like, watching it does look like, well, this guy punches left and punches right. When really I know there's so much more going on than that, but... I need
games don't have that pizzazz, to see. So
yeah,
I can hear that. But yeah, I want to play it. It's just there's not that much time to jump into things. And when I look at the games on my list, I'm like, I don't know if I should do that. And so it might go unplayed for a while until I have some time on my hands.
That's fine. Other big games I see on your most disappointed list is a game that I have on my best of list, Pokemon Go. So I know that game came out half-baked, to say the least. But I got really, like, I'm not a big serious Pokemon fan, so maybe a lot of the nuance that got lost in that initial build of the game didn't really affect me as much, but I love that idea of experiencing a game where you have to be in a specific place at a specific time to do a specific thing. And at a root level, something was like super cool about that, and then I got really into like trying to complete my Pokedex, get max IVs on everybody. For a while before they updated the gym system, like I was taking the long way home on the subway because I would get out at a bunch of stops and just try and
go.
Dominate these gyms to get the money. And if you fell out early on because the game sucked, I can't blame you for that.
Yeah, same.
But they've done a lot of work to it since, and it has definitely gotten better over time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that it had such a great explosion in the beginning, and then that big drop off. Everyone said, "Oh, the game is dead," but I think there's still like millions of players playing it, and I think it's cool. And like looking at what it did for, I guess, mobile games, like I think what you said is cool. Being able to go to a place and experience something with a group of people, it's pretty cool. I think that there can be more done with the gym system and like how you interact with the rest of your gym mates, I guess. But I think it's still really fun, and I think the newest update with the quests, like that's a step in the right direction. Like change up the game, don't change up the gameplay, but like change up what you do and why you do it. And that's why people will come back to your game. And like I play intermittently. I haven't really played much recently, but with the new update, I was like, oh yeah, I'll jump back in. And they had that really cute April Fool's thing with the 8-bit artwork, which I hope they keep in the game forever. But yeah, I jumped in and I'm like, wow, all the Pokemon around me, they're all silhouettes. Like I haven't caught any of these new things. So it is kind of fun to know like there's all this stuff to still get, and they've only got like half the Pokemon in the game, so you can only get more and more. And if I think of two stories with Pokemon Go, so we have a friend here in California, and his parents, for some reason, just absolutely love that game. And, like, they play all the time. And so like he'll get text messages if he's hanging out with us. He's like, "Oh, my parents want to go to a gym." We're like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be back in a couple hours because it's like 2 hours away." So we're like, "Oh, okay." Or like they want to go catch a Pokemon over there. So we're like, "Okay, sure." So the joke is always now like they just, for example, they went to Alaska to visit for a couple weeks ago. And so the joke was like, yeah, they went to catch Pokemon, and Jamin's like, well, they're not catching Pokemon. So they're just playing all the time, and they'll go to like gym raids together, and they're like, there's all these young kids and like these older parents, they're all together, which is just a cool moment. And second story that I can think of, back in September of 2017, so like a year after the game came out, I went back home to Indiana to visit my family, and my nephew was playing, and he's like, "Oh, hey, do you play?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do. Like I haven't played in a while." And he's like, "Oh, what's your best Pokemon?" And I said, "Oh, like in California we have lots of Rhyhorn, so I have a Rhydon that's not bad. Like I wouldn't say he's good, but over here in California, like we would never really win gyms because he wasn't that good. Like everyone else just kicked a lot of ass." Anyways, I went back to Indiana and went to this gym close to our house for a raid. I remember I put my Pokemon up there, put the Rhyhorn there, and some guy was like, "Oh man, who's got that Rhyhorn?" I was like, "Oh, that's me." And he's like, "Nice." So I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So like his CP was like maybe 3,000. Like it's not even like that high, but like just comparatively for everyone else there, like he was just like leaps and bounds like above their like status quo of Pokemon.
Nice.
I was like, "Oh, awesome." So we went to a mall later, and I just threw my Rhyhorn in there. Laura threw her like Magmar or something like that, like super low CP. And they were there for like 3 weeks. And I'm in like California, and I'm like, I can't even do anything to this guy. And like just no one beats him. So like, oh, it's wonderful. And then finally he came back. So it's
just abandoned your right out there.
And it's just funny just to think like, it was kind of cool because like over there in Indiana, like they don't have Rhyhorns, because it just doesn't come up as much as it does here by us.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of neat to think like everyone over in California, where it's much more densely populated, like tons of people played it. And it made that experience like better for me. And then moving to Indiana, like you can see how when there's not that many people, like it's more like personal, I guess. So like people at the raid, they like knew each other and like, "Oh, hey, good to see you again." And like, it's kind of cool. And so getting the two aspects of the game, like I think that's why Pokemon Go succeeds, because it can build off that big like cultural impact for like the right away, and then just it lasted forever. And I think it'll be around for a couple more years, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think Pokemon Go Story is my two favorites. One, my former coworkers and I like met after work, and we were doing a series of raids when the legendaries first came out.
Oh yeah.
And there's this one kid we called the Karate Kid. He looked like he was about 8, 9 years old, and clearly just came out of karate lessons because he was still in his karate gi.
Yeah.
And he was super excited. He was there with his mom and dad, and was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be my first legendary raid! I can't wait!"
Cute.
And so he fought, and then like just towards the end, his phone crashed.
No.
And he was freaking out, like, "Oh my god, it's good." And everyone's at the raids like, "It's gonna be okay. You'll just load back in." And he's like about to cry because he lost his moment. And then like, "Nope, it's fine." The Pokemon's there, and if you've tried to catch a legendary Pokemon, you know they're like crazy hard to catch.
Yeah.
He gets it on the first ball.
Oh, nice.
And he's running around shopping like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy!"
Oh, that's so cool.
He was like almost like crying tears of joy, and all of us were just like, "Oh, please stop."
These are tears of joy. Yeah.
Maybe on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I don't know if I've told the story on the internet. I don't know if I should, but I'm gonna do it. It was around the time the game just came out, and there was a rare Pokemon across the street from my work, and it was at a church. My coworker and I were like, "Hey, let's just slip out for a minute and catch this Pokemon." So we go to the church, and like this is before they had the tracker had like it was set to Pokestops, so it was just like it's in the wild somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
I was using what was that service, the tracker?
It was like
Pokevision or something?
Yeah, Vision. Yeah, that's
Pokevision.
Right.
Yes, that was it. It was like, okay, it's by the church. Let's go. And so we're walking, and I'm starting to think like it's actually inside the church, but I don't want to go inside the church playing Pokemon, right?
Right.
So I'm walking against the wall, looking at my phone, and all of a sudden, like, I look a bit down, and there's like a set of feet. I look to the side, and like my coworker's like way off. Like, what the hell are you doing? And then I put my phone down, and I see that there's a person sitting in front of me shooting drugs into her foot. And I was like, "Oh my god!" I almost tripped over. Like, I gotta go. Like,
yeah, I'm supposed to be that way.
Yeah. I back up, and then like, as I'm walking towards my coworker, these two guys show up and are like, "Hey, are you guys looking for the blah blah?" I think it was a Poliwhirl. The Poliwhirl, like, yeah, like, "Oh, it's just right here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Don't go by that drug person. Yeah.
No.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any stories like that. No, just the normal stuff where like there'd be parks and people would be like, "There's a Charmander here," and everyone would just run across the park to go over there. That was great.
Yeah. And let's talk about some busts. We'll talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider another game. I like that game a lot. I actually think it's better than Uncharted 4. Come at me, bro. But
I feel like to save time, since we're running out of time, the only game that we shared on this list of disappointments is Street Fighter V, which I know is a big game for you, and I'm a big Street Fighter fan, and I don't know. You want to take the lead on this one?
I did the review for Biff Bam Pop. Matt hooked me up with that, and at the time, like I will say, pre-release, pre-release version of that game, online worked fine.
Yeah.
It did, and when the actual game came out, busted.
Nope.
Yeah, it was completely shot. At the time, I really liked some of the design decisions they had made regarding making execution easier, to make it easier for people to perform big combos.
Yeah,
more approachable. And as time progressed, some of the holes in that particular approach came to light, where it was like, "Oh, wait, everyone can do these big combos now, and now everyone's playing exactly the same, and there's no individuality. It's always just like, do the most optimal thing in this situation," and it really wore me down. And I still played hundreds of hours of it. It was the most success I've had, like, playing in a tournament. I actually won a tournament. I won the Cineplex, like the largest movie theater chain in Canada has like a whole esports side now, where they run esports tournaments at the at the theaters all across Canada, and then they do like national finals in Toronto. And I won the Kingston qualifier. Kingston's like a 3-hour drive. And I won that, and I ended up placing 17th in the country in the nationals in Toronto. So, like, I played a ton of this game, and I just hit a point where I was like, yeah, I'm done.
You're kind of done? Yeah.
And on top of that, like, that game was bare bones feature-wise at launch with terrible single player. And
what single player?
Yeah. That survival mode is the worst.
Yeah.
Still awful.
Yeah, I just... Like when it came out, like I was really hurt that there wasn't a story mode, like even like any sort of semblance of it. So that really kind of hurt. But I just felt like, I don't know, maybe it's like we said, everyone online was doing the same stuff. Like there was just so many Ryus and Kens, and like no one else was playing these other characters. And I'm trying to like jump in and learn it, but I'm just getting my butt whooped. And I feel like when the game first came out, there wasn't any penalty for people that dropped.
Nope.
And God, that made me so mad because like whenever I think I'd be winning, like they would just leave and I'd get so pissed. And oh my God. And yeah, and just I think also like personally, like no one else around me actually played, so I was only playing online, and I kind of missed the aspect of having like other people to talk about with it and like discuss things because people at work that normally played, they had left and didn't play together anymore, and so. Yeah, I just kind of didn't do it for me, and which is disappointing because I played a boatload of Street Fighter 4, and I absolutely love Street Fighter 3. So, I mean, I've heard 5 is better now, like with the Arcade Edition and everything they've added. I've never got back into it.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Arcade Edition, and it's definitely like now it's a complete game. I still have fundamental issues with the way that it plays. I do have interest in going back, though, because I kind of want to play more Monot. I think that in a game where, like, one of my fundamental complaints about the game is that so much of that game is about, like, face-to-face offense. In Street Fighter 5, like, you can throw fireballs from far away, but people have so many tools to just get around that. And, like, the reward for hitting a fireball is, like, 5% damage. Or I can land one combo on you in close and do 40. Yeah, and so, like, there's no point for anyone to do anything other than be in your face all the time. Except for Monot, who has, like, really good zoning tools with the whole crystal ball thing that she can float and have floating behind you and be able to pull it back at any time. It creates, like, a level of... It creates a dynamic that, like, anything can happen versus, like, almost every other character in the game is, like, super rigid in what they can do at any given time. And so I really find that aspect of her play really interesting.
No, that's true. And I think that to give the game credit, I thought they, like the new characters were good new characters. Like when they added them, they seemed to fill a good like corner of the market that's not there in Street Fighter yet. And I thought they had good design. I just suck as them. And yeah, and just I mean, watching the pros play some of the matches like at Evo, like, yeah, it's cool. And I can see why it makes me want to get back into Street Fighter, but I've just moved on. I felt like it was just kind of a bitter taste in the beginning. I'm like, yeah, I've been there, done that. I just haven't gotten back into it yet.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. I think that's going to do it for today's chat. This was awesome.
Yeah,
really,
sure.
We will do this again, and hopefully we can get some of the other guys on the show and possibly some new people too. Sure. I just kind of envision this being a hop on when we can, and we'll just talk about games and stuff with whoever is available.
I think that would be fine.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe like once a month-ish, something like that.
Yeah, whatever is enough time to warrant, you know,
getting the band back together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a reunion every time.
Cool. Yeah. So, Matt, JJ, come on when you can. I know Matt's scheduling is going to be tough because he's not really available on weekdays, and I'm not really available on weekends. But we will make it work. We will make it work.
Figure something out.
Yeah.
Get the band back together.
Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
Well, besides watching this, no, like I'm still writing on downstab.com. Downstab, damn. Hopefully I'll be streaming again soon, setting up our area for streaming there, and not much, just enjoying games, enjoying life, and we'll see. Awesome.
I mean, besides watching this, definitely check out my site, inthirdperson.com, for articles on video games, board games. Oh, while we're talking Street Fighter, have you seen the Kickstarter for the Street Fighter miniatures game?
No, I have not.
Oh.
Please send me that link.
Yeah, I'll send that to you right now. Actually, let me screen share this. Street Fighter. Did you know this was a thing?
No, I did not.
Oh, dude. Okay. So, this is, I don't know. Oh, man. So yeah, miniatures. You can do 1v1, 2v2, free for all.
Amazing.
The miniatures look awesome.
Look at that. Is it gonna be like like the other, what's the card game one? The fighting game?
Yomi?
Yeah, like that one.
I saw there's a video here that shows how it plays. Not really. Sort of. It does have a little bit of the whole play the card face down and try and guess what the other person tried to do thing on it. But it's a little different in its execution.
Nice.
There's dice. There's what the figures look like compared to like Amiibo. Some of the 3D renderings.
Wow.
Figures. Yeah, I think the big challenge for me. Well, there's two challenges. One, this thing is crazy expensive. It starts at the base set, 6 characters starts at $80 US, $100 here before shipping, and I know I'm gonna have to pay a premium for shipping from the States. And then for stretch, also the miniatures are pre-painted.
Oh, nice. It looks so detailed too. Yeah.
Stretch goals. I think there's 12 other characters they want to add on top of that, and then there's expansions as well. So yeah, there's like an alpha pack, Street Fighter 3, yeah, a Street Fighter 4 pack, and a Street Fighter 5 pack.
Wow, nice. Oh, Rashid.
Yeah. So I'll send you the link for that, and yeah, I'll send it to you after we're done here.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that seems amazing.
Definitely something to look into. I'm still debating. I think it's between getting the Street Fighter game or getting a new microwave. So
food or games, Jett? You got
I don't know. Yeah. All right, man. So it's been a slice. This was awesome. We will certainly do this again. Matt, JJ, definitely come on when you can, because this is great.
For sure. We'll see you guys next time, I guess.
Yeah. All right. All right, Jason. I'll see you later.
Yep. Bye.